President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Good to see you. I just want to say everybody back home, right back at you. We appreciate you. You always get a straight talk.
And welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with me, Deyon Dean. I just want to start off by saying Happy New Year. This is my first show coming back in the new year of 2019. And as we discussed as we were closing out 2018, we talked about we were going to really dedicate our time into promoting African American, well, I'm just going to say black businesses in our community. Seeing to it that we bring the appropriate information to the community that can actually help benefit us. And one of the things we saw fit in starting this year out with is a financial business that can help us just really start getting ourselves prepared, because you can start a business, but if you don't know how to save money and do things the appropriate way, then I don't know if you're starting off the right way. So I have a special guest here with me tonight. His name is Johnny Johnson. He is a licensed financial services professional. He is going to talk to us this evening about savings, how we can start business, and a multitude of other things. So I'm hoping that you tune in, and I'm asking you to call your friends, call your mom, call your brother, because we're kicking it off the right way this year. So welcome to the show, Johnny.
Thank you for having me, sir.
All right.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you very much, and
Absolutely.
I appreciate you starting this show off with us this year.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about your business today. So I've already stated that you're a licensed financial service professional.
Yes, sir.
I do know you work with an actual agency, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll just say the agency is PHP Agency Incorporated. Am
Yes,
I correct?
sir. Absolutely.
Okay, so today we're just going to talk about finances. So we're going to kick it off. Let's talk a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what's made you want to go into this type of business,
Absolutely.
and how things are going and how we can better our community.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. I actually originally from Chicago, Illinois. I went to high school at CVS High School. Shout out to any Cavaliers that are out there, class of 2001. I'm 35 years of age. I had the traditional route because I've always wanted to be a professional baseball player.
Gotcha.
So in subconscious terms, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what that was at the time, but at the same token, that's what I wanted to do. So upon graduating from high school at CVS, I pursued a degree in communication from Shaw University, the oldest historically black college and university in Raleigh, North Carolina. I graduated in 2006 with a degree in communication and minor in theater. After graduating, I came back to Chicago. I had an internship with WGCI, doing some things in their radio department. That didn't really pan out the way I thought it would.
Who did you work with over there?
Nobody in particular. I actually kind of started from the bottom as a production assistant.
Gotcha, okay.
From an internship standpoint.
Appreciate it.
But knowing that I had $75,000 of student loans, after a certain amount of time, you start to get those calls from then Sally Mae, now Navient, about, hey, we need to get some money back.
Can we get our change back?
Absolutely, absolutely. So my first real 9-to-5 job after graduating from college at Shaw University, I worked at Jay's Potato Chips. So working at Jay's Potato Chips, it was a good job for me at the time because I got a chance to control my time and my schedule. Got a chance to control my income as well, but I was still limited because I still had a boss that I had to answer to, and I still had quotas that I had to meet and things of that sort. But I did know just by doing some radio things in college and also working with WGCI for a brief stint that sales and marketing was the biggest part of any company. Because without a sales department or without the marketing department, that's what drives whatever the type of business that it is.
Gotcha.
So I've had several different jobs across the years, from Jay's Potato Chips initially to CDW Corporation. I even had a stint where I worked at the Horseshoe Casino for a little while. And my last regular 9-to-5 job was actually working at Cricket Communications, a cell phone company.
Okay.
They came to Chicago back in February of 2009, and I took a position with them. And while working at Cricket, this is actually how I got my financial start. Because I love working with Cricket. There was no 2 days that were the same. I like interacting and communicating with people, which I did every day from a cell phone communication standpoint. But at the end of 2010, actually December 30th to be exact, I lost my dad.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
So he died unexpectedly. He was 63 years of age at the time. Pretty good height, weight, no health issues to our knowledge. But he died unexpectedly that particular day. So that particular day, that kind of turned my world upside down. And I know there's a lot of people, not only in the city of Chicago, but across the country and across the world, who have lost a family member or a loved one unexpectedly and might not have been prepared for that time. So by me losing my dad at that time and feeling the way I was feeling and knowing some other people that I had known over the years that had lost relatives similar to my dad, I thought to myself, man, this is something that I need to tackle, because coming up through Chicago, grammar school, high school, and obviously going to college in North Carolina, I had never knew anything about money except for how to work very hard, how to make the few dollars that I would make, and how to spend it with somebody as a consumer. So getting my license and helping people with their life insurance and other financial services was really the kind of start of my career.
So let me ask you. So, because I'm hearing a lot of good things and how you got, a lot of those companies that you work for are very good companies. Are the companies of people who actually will retire from if they get into a good position and they feel as though, hey, I just need to hunker down and this is where I'm going to be 30 years from now. I'll retire. I'll be at an age where I can retire, which we know today's time, companies don't hire you no more to retire you.
Not at all.
Okay, so that was a smart move on your part, that you just thinking, ahead of the game, understanding that, because a lot of people still think today, oh, I can get a job and I'll be there and I'll retire like my mother and father. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. They don't do it anymore. They find a way to release you at some point, even if you are one of the best employees.
That would be true.
But let me ask you, so during this journey, because I'm hearing the things and how you made the different transitions to where you wanted to be in different jobs, was there any particular person that you latched on to during that time period that made you think about where you're at today?
Well, not anybody in particular, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because mentorship is so very important, especially for our youth that's coming up behind us. So my mentors, nobody in particular, but I've always been an athlete, or I've always been in the sports, primarily baseball. I did some years of basketball, some years of football. But the coaches themselves kind of prepare you for life, because with my thought process on sports is kind of a parallel to life.
Correct.
You have your triumphs, you have your defeats, you have your ups, your downs, you have adversity if you were to get injured, or a season or two didn't go your way, and then you get a chance to bounce back. But you ultimately want to be ultra competitive, and you want to go out there and you want to win, not only for yourself, but for your team, your family, your coaches, the organization that you play for, etc. So that was kind of my main focus growing up and coming through schooling and things of that sort. And plus, I like to read, so I've always kind of kept my head in a book.
Okay.
And I was kind of one of those, what they call black sheep. So I'm an only child. I'm my mother's only child, even though I have two older siblings that are my sisters.
Gotcha.
But I've always kind of been a loner, but at the same time, I've always associated myself with groups of people that were going in a positive direction and that really just wanted to share the positive energy and information with people.
So in other words, sports and the discipline, not the discipline, but the organization of how it's organized and it keeps you mentally set on, I would say discipline.
Absolutely.
Mentally, and then the people that you connected yourself with, which is your coach and your players, it showed you how to really just be team oriented.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that aspect, I don't know if a lot of people know it, but playing for a team at an early age actually prepares you for life, because when you get to an adult status, you're going to have to interact with people, whether you like them on a personality standpoint or not, because at the end of the day, it depends on what you do for a living. But you have to be able to interact with people to get the ultimate job done, or to get the bottom line accomplished. Whether you like them or not, you have to be able to communicate with them.
Right.
You have to agree to disagree sometimes. You just have to know how to work with people. So getting that at an early age for me ultimately kind of propelled me and prepared me for where I am today. And I know that I don't know. So I'm always looking to become a better version of myself with each passing day. Right. So I kind of keep my head in a book from a self-improvement and self-development standpoint. And ultimately, I just want to be able to master my craft, especially when it comes to families' finances, or even a business's finances.
Reading is fundamental, right?
Absolutely.
So that's key, and that's something that we got to install in our young people too. Understand and pick up that book, read, whatever it may be, your business or any other type of thing you may want to accomplish in life. It's in a book somewhere.
Absolutely.
And how to go about dealing with it is there. So Again, your actual community that you went to CVS.
I went to CVS.
Did you live in the CVS community?
I initially, for the first 10 years of my life, I lived on the east side of Chicago, or what we like to say in Chicago, over east.
Okay.
So I stayed right off of 86 and Stony.
Oh, yeah.
My first 10 years.
Okay.
That's when Wendy's used to serve breakfast. No, not too many people know about that. But after that, I moved a little bit further east. I grew up in the South Shore neighborhood at that point. And then when I actually got a chance to go to high school at CVS, I moved to the Roseland area. And I've been in the Roseland area with the exception of college since 1997.
Wow. So what area in Roseland? Because I grew up on 114th Parnell.
Okay.
Which
So
is called
grew
Sheldon
up,
Heights, but it's next door to
absolutely.
Roseland, yeah.
Well, I grew up primarily on 107th and Forest.
Okay.
And then 108th and Calumet.
Okay.
And I still stay in the area right now, and I'm actually looking to move sometime within the next month or so to another area of the city. But I love the area of Roseland. Definitely think that Alderman Bill is doing some great things in the community. He just opened the Pullman Center. I heard some great things about that. And then obviously he's bringing, economic development back into this particular community. So when I moved in the area in 97, a lot of businesses in the area were thriving and things were doing what they normally should do as a business. But over the years, with different crimes and things of that sort and different people going in and out of the community.
Right.
Some of the businesses have, kind of fell by the wayside, so to speak. Some of the mom and pop grocery stores and other locations in the community kind of fell by the wayside as well. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to a person's economic structure,
Right.
Or what we like to call in our world their financial house.
Well, let me just say that I like the fact that you brought up Alderman Bill, because that's a good friend of mine as well. We were together last night down in Springfield for the legislators being sworn in.
Absolutely.
But I had the opportunity to talk with them. They're out doing some great things out here, and just to hear you say that you know what he's doing is number one key.
Absolutely.
Because you got to know what's going on in your community.
Got to.
Number two, for what you're doing and the type of business that you have, it's an actual total 100% benefit for the community and the people who live here as the redevelopment. Because a lot of us live in these areas and we're thinking about what day we can get out of these areas.
That's true.
So, but with the redevelopment coming on, your business is a plus to him to be able to do educational things. You talked about the new center.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would hope that you once we get a little bit more into your business, are able to connect with him to be able to host seminars within that center.
Absolutely.
To actually talk to the community, and we can't keep running.
Now the problem is here is now. It's been a problem for a while.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like I just mentioned right before you interjected, it's the problem is making sure your financial house is in order. And most people don't have a financial house because they haven't been educated on what a financial house is, how to build it, where to start, what products to put their money in to start it or grow it or remodel it, if you will. So that's what some of the things that I do and some of the things that a company that I'm working with does, because our adage is bringing life back into the insurance industry.
Gotcha.
So most people, when they think about life insurance, the first thing they think about is somebody passing away.
Correct.
And them having to take care of their final expenses, whether they're buried or whether they're cremated and things of that sort. But it's so much more deeper than just that. Yes, whoever has passed away, you want their home going to be a great situation because that's the last time you'll physically see them. But is there a spouse involved? Are there younger children involved? Is there a home that was getting a mortgage paid prior to the person passing away? Is that involved? Is money saved up for those younger children, if they're in the picture, for their college education? So all of those things need to be talked about prior to, so you can be proactive, because one of my business mentors always says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Gotcha.
So from the simple fact of having adequate life insurance coverage is one of the foundations of building your financial house or building financial wealth in general.
So one of the issues we have in our community, I'm going to call you Johnny, right?
Yes,
Cool.
sir, no problem.
Is that most of us get up, we got so many life issues. One of our issues is just even trying to eat, keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Many of us don't have vehicles. Many of us are living in homes that are not our homes. We're renting our homes. We have a lot of Section 8 things. I mean, there's a multitude of issues, but people don't understand the importance of your business because this is an added problem to people's lives. In my household, if I die, then that means the mortgage is left on someone.
Yes, sir.
That means, that money that was coming in to contribute to the home is gone.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, how big, small, or whatever it may be. So I think I'm trying to give a picture to our viewers.
Okay.
The importance of this, even if we have a little change, we must look at this important, because I think what you do is a lot to do with the wealth of other people who are not in our race.
That's very true. So this is kind of like my thought process on it. So when it comes to building your financial house, your house, the strongest part of your house is the foundation. Mm-hmm. So you don't start with the roof, you start with the foundation, because that supports everything as you build on it.
Correct.
So in the financial world, the foundation of a financial house is life insurance. Mm-hmm. But ironically, most African American or black people, if you will, they generally don't have it outside of their job. And I want to say this about the job insurance. Job insurance is great because we know in modern times, most jobs, whether you work full-time or part-time, don't offer those benefits. That's first. Mm-hmm. But if they do, it should be looked at as additional coverage, not as your main source of coverage, because then you have to ask yourself, is your job guaranteed for 20 or 30 years? Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, 99.9% of the time, the answer would be no. So do you want to leave the responsibility of taking care of your family, making sure your home or mortgage is paid off, making sure your kids have adequate coverage for their college education, making sure that the cars are paid off and the cars won't be repossessed, making sure money stays in the community? Mm-hmm. If that's important to you, then you want to make sure that you have something outside of your job called life insurance. Because once again, it's the foundation of a financial house. And it's very affordable, unlike most people and what they think is like actually having a car note.
Mm-hmm. They do, because most people feel like, I don't have no money for no insurance.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I got to pay my car note.
That's true.
I got to do this. And they ain't thinking at the point that if ultimately anyone in your family, from your children, and today's children are dying just as fast as a person getting old and dying.
That would be true.
And it's unfortunate, and we hope that changes in our community and that we get it in order.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're counting pennies.
That would be true.
But this is the bombshell waiting for us at the end, because it's unfortunate. We look at TV and there's something happening, we got GoFundMe funds to go try and bury our loved ones because there's no money there to do it.
Yeah, and on the strength of the GoFundMe, to me that's a professional way of begging. Why? Because these types of things need to be planned out in advance, because we can't predict when we're going to die. Mm-hmm. You know your birthday, I know my birthday, our viewers know their birthday, but we don't know when we're going to take our last breath. So if there is a spouse involved, if there are younger children or even older children for that matter involved, if there are loved ones who depend on the breadwinner or the person's income, then this conversation needs to be had well off in advance, because a person can leave home 9 o'clock in the morning, go into their job and get in a bad car accident and never even make it to work, let alone back home.
Correct.
But does the spouse, man or woman, know that their husband or wife wasn't coming home that day? No. So this conversation needs to be had, and it can be had in such a simplistic way by just thinking, okay, do you love yourself first and foremost, and do you love your family? Because if you do, then this is a no-brainer. Now you just need the financial education to support that love that you have for yourself and for your family, to be able to have a customized plan, which is what life insurance is, from a financial standpoint, to fit into your budget. So that's kind of what that looks like. And when it comes to budgeting money, that's one of the biggest things that most people that look like you and I don't do. So I sit down with clients all of the time, and I actually do a detailed budget for them. And by the way, I don't charge any of my clients any money, so this is all free.
I was finna go there and say, now I got to sit down with you. It's gonna cost me some money. People ain't interested. First of all, they just don't have it.
That's true.
Let's just be real. They don't have the money. And they do want, and many of us want to sit down with individuals like you and figure this thing out. And I'm quite sure the ladies in our lives, our wives, partners, whatever it may be that you have, want to know that you want to take care of your family.
Absolutely.
So to kick it off, hey man, I only make $10 an hour.
Okay.
I'm trying to make ends meet. Why? How can I come and see a guy like you, knowing I need to? My mental capacity lets me know I need to be sitting down with you.
Absolutely.
But how do I do that? If I'm only making $10 an hour, my wife only making so much money, if, either one of us, the guy, a lot of times women are holding down the family, you know what I'm saying?
That would be true.
So it's like, I'm trying to figure out how we get the people to connect with what we're doing, of the importance of this, because this is the lifeline.
Well, one of the biggest things that I focus on, and this our company as a whole, and definitely our organization here in Chicago, what we focus on is redistributing our money in a positive light. Mm-hmm. So it goes back to budgeting. Where if you budget what you spend your money on every month, most people are what we call upside down, or they're in a situation where they're spending more money than they're making.
That's right.
So I'll give you a better analogy. Let's say a man brings home $2,000 a month from his job or his business or whatever it is he does. Mm-hmm. When we look at a person's finances, we itemize it. Okay, what are you spending in rent or mortgage? Okay, there's a fee. Most of the time, if a person is bringing home $2,000, they probably are renting, no problem. So you have that particular number. Then you have how much are you spending on food per month? And that's a combination of grocery shopping and eating out.
Right.
So just let's pause for 1 second. So eating out, I don't have a problem with anybody doing whatever they want to do with their money. But if things are important, like the topic of life insurance or the topic of saving money for your retirement, there has to be a sacrifice that I or you or a person would have to make if that's important to them.
Exactly.
So to spend $300 a month on food and $200 of it is going out to eat at your favorite restaurants, it's good. But when it comes to protecting your family and not knowing when and if you'll pass away at any given time, especially in the city that we live in with all of the crime and the violence that's going on, that's something that's important. So, a client can start off with as low as $25 for a policy. And the saying is you start small and you grow large. I mean, you probably want the $1 million policy because you want your spouse and your children and your loved ones to be taken care of financially, but your budget won't allow that right now.
So would you say that from this, let's somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, the most important thing would be start with monies that if something happened to you, you have enough to at least take care of that, and that won't be a burden on your family?
Absolutely.
That would be the first step.
That would be the first step, definitely. And then it also looks at a couple of different things. One goes back to budgeting. So, I sat down with a client, and the client had 6 credit cards. And they were paying roughly about $400 a month to the credit card companies. Now, yeah, you want to pay your debt back, but you got to ask yourself, do you really need to be using all of these credit cards to the point where you're spending $400 a month to pay those back? Right. So that's a starting point, but then you also got to look at, a person has $150 cell phone bill. Well, generally speaking, and whatnot, you probably don't use your phone worth $150 every month. So you could easily, there's different companies out here, and I used to work for a cell phone company. So you got $40, $50, $60 plans. So let's say you had a $60 plan. If you're paying $150 now for one line, to go down to $60, you just saved $90. And then you start itemizing some other things within your budget that you spend on a monthly, and next thing you look up, you just found $400 that you could save that can be put toward savings, put toward protection of the family, and maybe a possible emergency fund, or at least starting to build that foundation.
So how do you get the money out of my hand quickly? Because if I got $300, I just got paid.
Okay.
Most of the time I'm trying to pay something, plus I'm like, I'm gonna live a little bit too. What's the best way? With my $300, if I just got it in my hand right now, it's gonna burn out in a few minutes, because you know how quickly we get it in our hand, it's leaving.
Yeah.
Is there, like with these agencies or the company you work with, is there a way to get that money where it's transferred directly, quickly, and I don't see that money?
Absolutely. All of our products, we have it bank drafted every month on a specific day that the client is suitable for, or that they're comfortable with.
Gotcha.
So, a lot of times people say, well, man, I need to wait till I get paid to do X, Y, and Z. And that's no problem. So once we customize what it is that we're going to do for our client, whether it be life insurance, whether it be saving money for their retirement, whether it be possibly helping them get out of debt, which increases their credit score and things of that sort, then we come to a viable way of doing that. So we do a brief application for them, which takes about 10, 15 minutes to do, if that. And there's no money that's exchanged hands when we meet with our client, which is another great thing about doing business with us, unlike some other financial firms. Other financial firms, and this is no disrespect to them, they charge you to meet with them. That's what they decide to do. Then you might have to pay for whatever your product that you're purchasing right then and there.
Because, you find a lot of times people say, and I know it's certain companies, I won't say those companies over the air because I don't want to, nobody to sue us saying that we try to, bring them down. But, they might say, man, this company keep calling, one of the major financial places, man, I ain't got no money for them. All they want to do is get your money, you know what I'm saying? All they want to do is push you to work for them and then get more money from you. Yeah. So that's what they're thinking.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, my thought process and my adage is I always put myself in my client's shoes. Okay. So if I was sitting across the table from me, or I was sitting in a jurisdiction next to me and whatnot, what information, at that point as the consumer, what information would I want to be shared with? So that's my mindset on every appointment that I do, because A, I always want to do what's right for the client. B, I always want to make sure it's within their budget as they start to grow whatever it is that they're trying to do. And then 3, I want to make sure that they understand what they're getting, because that creates a retention tool. Because let's just be honest, most people think of life insurance as a bill. So if you think of life insurance as a bill, and I'm just using life insurance for example, then when it comes down to pay the cable bill or to pay your life insurance premium, the average person would choose their cable bill. Why? Because they got to watch Love and Hip Hop, Black Ink, the game about to come on. Exactly. That's more important than protecting your life, because that's not really a necessity for that particular client or that particular person. So when I share with them how to still be able to pay your cable bill, but also make sure you pay your life insurance premium every month through different ways and mechanisms by which we do that, they are a lot more comfortable knowing
how to do that.
Exactly.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna pay some bills real quick.
Okay.
And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna find out how you can actually sit down with Johnny and be able to just really set some plans and set an agenda to get started. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's good? What's up? What's happening today?
Let's hit those pearly whites, man.
Yeah. The boys, check it out. Stand up, do my terrorists, don't
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to try?
I'm fine.
hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Stoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees.
I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. In light of the Laquan McDonald case, we have to assure that fairness and equal rights are protected for all citizens of Chicago, and this has not been the case with this mayor. Vote for me, and I can assure you that fairness and equal opportunity for all citizens of Chicago.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8255. 8809. Your Pet Shop.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
No, I'm scared. I mean, you're
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Every now and then I get that feeling, and I've got something I want to say.
One of the great things about being a vegan is that the uniqueness of it.
And I've got to say it my way.
And so gathered with me today are just a sampling of those vegans who have become loyal supporters of Soul Vegetarian.
Welcome to Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Why? Why? Why are you following me? Why my hoodie make me look suspicious?
Why does my music make me dangerous?
Why are people that are supposed to protect me attacking me?
Why are you afraid of me? Why do you think I'm dangerous? Why do I afraid of people who are supposed to protect me?
Why can't I make a peace sign without you labeling a gang sign?
Why does standing your ground only work when I'm on the ground?
Why do you show this photo over this one?
Why do you only stop and frisk me?
Why do you have low expectations for me?
Why can't I run down the street without causing alarms?
Why do you think I'm a thug?
Why do you assume I'm armed? Why can I breathe? Why is my mom scared every time I leave the house?
Why are you targeting me?
Why am I a target? Why? Why? I know why. And it has to stop. It must stop.
Because I have dreams. Because I can change the world.
Because I will make a difference. Because I have a family. Because I am strong.
Because I'm talented.
I have a voice.
I can find a cure.
I have goals.
I can lead the country.
I am determined.
I have a future.
Because I'm a scholar.
I am powerful.
I'm someone's friend.
I'm someone's brother.
I'm someone's son. Someone loves me.
And because my life matters too.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters. My life matters. My life matters.
All lives matter.
And so did theirs.
And we're back. I was just talking to, I want to say my friend Johnny here now because, you know, once you meet someone of substance, you must connect with them. But we were talking about, you know, just life planning, making sure that people understand how important it is that we just sacrifice certain things in our life, because we do a whole lot in life as far as entertainment, you know, buying beverages, you know, certain type of foods we like to eat every day, the clothes we wear. Most of us are buying designer clothes. Most of us are buying, for ourselves as well as our children. There's a whole lot of money in between all of that we must learn to sit down and say, sacrifice time. It's time for us to sacrifice and be able to do things that's going to benefit us, longevity and protecting this family and the future of this family. So, I want Johnny to talk to us a little bit more about how he could be of service to you and your family.
Yeah, and you definitely hit the nail on the head. And before I go into some of the services that I provide, I want to paint a picture for our viewers. So here it is, a young baby boy just born yesterday. He's born, but his mom and his dad has purchased him a Jordan beanie, a Jordan onesie, and some Jordan footies. They spent $20. They, unbeknownst to them, are subconsciously setting this young boy up to become a materialistic person. Because if he's used to getting Jordans and Abercrombie and Fitch and Polo Ralph Lauren and all of these name brands, that's good that they do that, but that shouldn't be the driving force behind it, because now he's 6, 7 years old, fast forward, and now he's in first, second, third grade. Now he wants that as well, and it gets more expensive as the child gets older.
Correct.
Now he's in high school. Now he wants the Jordan this, the Kevin Durant that, all of those materialistic stuff. Because in high school it's about your image and about how you're portrayed to your peers. And I get that. I used to be in high school. You did as well. So what we want to do is we want to be able to provide those things for our kids.
Right.
But we don't want to just only lean on that to make sure that our kids are taken care of. Because just like you can tell your child about Nike or about Adidas or about Polo Ralph Lauren or any other name brand, you can also talk to them about, saving, their allowance every time they get their allowance, save $2 of it. Just imagine if they did that from 1st to 8th grade. By the time they graduate 8th grade going to high school, they got $700 saved up.
So most of our habits are taught habits.
Absolutely.
So we see recklessness going on in our household where we're spending money on all these type of things, Ralph Lauren, the Nikes and all that, and no savings is going anywhere. Then that's the habit we're going to pick up, and that's the lifestyle we tend to live.
Absolutely. And it really comes down to not what we hear, but yes, what we hear, but it's really what we see. So ask yourself this: why are most people putting their money in banks and only leaving it there? Because generally speaking, mom or dad or grandparents told you that's what you should do with your money. Why? Because that's what they were educated to do. And now 20, 30, 40 years ago, to have your money in the bank, you were getting 10, 15, 20% interest on your money, either in a CD or a money market or those types of bank products. Now in modern times, you go to Chase or Twin City Financial or Citibank or Wells Fargo, you're getting less than 1%. But once again, the people are putting their money in banks now in modern times because mom, dad, grandparents told them to do so.
Right.
So it's just a changing of the mindset. Everything that we want in life comes from our mind. So whatever we put in our mind, we want to manifest it in physical form.
Correct.
So if a person wants to be a wealthy person, man or woman, they got to mentally think like that. They got to surround themselves around people, because they say you average the income of the 5 people that you associate with the most. Then you also have to read books on self-improvement, because the world is a very cold world. So you have to arm yourself with what we call ammunition or body armor to become able to master your craft in whatever your industry or field of endeavor is.
Right.
So once that happens, then a person can ultimately, over time, with work ethic, with ambition, with drive, become a wealthy person in his or her field. But it all started from the thoughts. So you think it, you speak it, you do it, it becomes a reality. Just that simple.
How do we, one of the things, and this just bothers me about our school systems in our community, and I'm telling you, it's done differently all over the world, how they, based on economics, how they actually teach these kids.
Absolutely.
How do we in our community get companies like yours into the schools? A lot of times we want to do it at home, but let's just face it. Because of the issues at home, we don't see our parents until sometimes late in the evening. And if it's a 2-parent home, sometimes they're working on different levels, one working at night, one working in the morning, however it is based on the job situation. So school is all we got.
Yeah.
How do we get this knowledge to the kids?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. I've done some work in the past with Chicago Public Schools, and I'm looking to do some more work this particular year moving forward. But not only for the teachers and the faculty and the staff who also need the financial information, plus they can directly afford some of the products that will support their financial wants and needs. From a children's standpoint, there's after-school programs that I'm looking to get involved with, and our company's looking to get involved with here in the Chicagoland area.
Gotcha.
But then there's also different workshops, whether it be over the summer and things like that, that can just give some children some financial, just some generality about money and personal finance, because like you just said, it's not really taught in school, especially if it's a public school.
Right.
So I'm a product of a public school, but if I would have learned the rule of 72 in first grade, being me at 35 years of age right now, just that rule alone, I would have known how to double and triple my income based on that rule alone. But if I've learned it for the last, 20, 30 years, then that's what would have been for myself. So whether a child is 6 years old or 12 years old or 17 years old getting ready to go to college, they need the financial information. So those are some of the ways that we can implement that in our schools. And then there's a lot of different organizations that are around the city of Chicago in particular that offer financial education and literacy. And at the end of the day, it's really all about sharing the information, because we were talking before we got started about knowledge being power.
Exactly.
Well, knowledge is power only if you apply it. So the application of the knowledge is the power, because if I have all of this knowledge, but I'm not on this type of platform where we are now, or if I'm not in a school, or if I'm not sitting down with a family, or if I'm not talking to a small business, then I'm not applying the knowledge that I've been privy to.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where it starts at, and then from there it starts to become part of your subconscious. Now you're thinking about it like, man, I want to make some more money, or man, I know I need to save some more money, because obviously saving money is vitally important. So those are some of the things that I'm looking to do, have done in the past, still doing in the present, and looking forward to doing more in the future.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I just wanted to know how we could try and connect with
Absolutely.
after-school programs and different things like that. I think is
Absolutely.
extremely important. Now, with your single-family homes, we got a lot of women who are holding down the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, how successful are we with this type of situation? Because it's a heavy burden on them having to send just one child to school and deal with all the money that these schools want, because we're actually helping self-fund these schools, even though there's supposed to be money going into the schools through taxes and stuff. We're still getting fees put on every little thing that goes on. How do you tell a single-family mom, look, let me help you, make sure that you got your stuff in order, some of the things, like term life and all, I don't know, I guess I'm looking at your information here, some of these things that are definitely needed, but also can be a benefit if money's ever needed to be pulled out, go towards something or whatever.
Well, building a foundation is obviously vitally important. So that would be life insurance, that would be making sure you have a living will, that would be making sure you have a trust set up if there are houses involved or different investment accounts, like maybe mutual funds or maybe a 401k or a deferred comp or something along those lines. So you need that foundation. So in essence, I'm kind of describing what a financial house looks like. So the foundation, you have life insurance, depending on what's suitable and affordable for the client. You have a living will, you have a living revocable trust or something along those lines as far as a trust. Then you want to make sure you have an emergency fund. Like you were just saying, if a person, in this scenario, the woman in the household, if she needs to get something for herself or for her children, you want to be able to have 3 to 6 months worth of money saved up, so that if an emergency arises, then you can obviously fund that emergency. So, if you get a flat tire, or if you get a boot on your car, we live in Chicago, a boot can happen at the drop of a dime. Or if you live in a home and your basement gets flooded, or something happens with your child where you need to take off work because they fell and broke their arm playing basketball, or whatever the case may be. All of those are emergencies, and there needs to be money saved and put aside so that that type of emergency can be taken care of. Then from there, you have some of your longer term investments when it comes to retirement, because saving money is vitally important. And if a person wants to retire, whatever age that they are at the time that they start saving the money, which hopefully will be earlier rather than later,
right?
You can save small increments of money, $50, $100, $200, depending on a person's budget. So in 20 or 30 years, when they get to their latter years, i.e. for retirement, they can retire with a nest egg of money and have an option of if they want to work or not. But most people in modern times, they're still working past their desired age because they didn't save money when they were younger. Why? Because nobody educated them or showed them how to save money systematically, automatically over a period of time so that they have money for that particular time.
What would be a good amount of money to start off with? All the habits that we all have, when we talked about those little habits, you know, clothing, eating, and all that, to kick off a decent amount of money to go toward life insurance or whatever that we're talking about, what would be a decent amount through your company?
Well, it varies because we customize financial strategies for our clients. So no two people's finances are the same.
Okay.
So it depends on where they are financially. So if a lady makes $1,500 a month, we'll look at her budget and then we'll find something that's suitable and obviously that's affordable to her. If a guy makes, $4,500 a month, once again, we'll customize something that's suitable and affordable for him. So it really just depends. And that's another thing that I like about what it is that I do and what our company does. Some companies, they're limited in their product selection or they're limited in the options that they're able to provide for their clients.
Gotcha.
So because we're a brokerage firm and we have a lot of different companies that we work with, that we're partnered with, and a lot of different products within those companies, it's not a matter of if we can find something for our clients financially, it's when we find something, because it depends on a person's financial budget and what they can afford, and then we customize that plan for them and put that in place for them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic, making sure that they don't feel like they're out in the wind. So to customize it to their situation is key.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about PHP Agency.
Okay.
How long have it been in existence? And then I know there's some other opportunities because some people not only want to be able to save money, but they want to make money.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go to commercial, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about that, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dr. Willie. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, speaking as a community leader and your future mayor of Chicago. We should all be concerned that the citizens with nonviolent misdemeanor offenses have their records expunged. They have served their time, and they need this opportunity to find jobs and become productive citizens. Now it's your turn. A vote for me is a vote for all citizens of Chicago.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi! Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert? Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him. Hi, I'm a warning sign. I let people know when they're... Oh, gotta go.
I'll be right back.
Hi!
Every now and then I get that feeling, And I've got something I wanna say.
One of the great things about being a vegan is that the uniqueness of it.
And I've gotta say it my way.
So gathered with me today are just a sampling of those vegans who have become loyal supporters of Soul Vegetarian.
Welcome to Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Looking to supplement the income, how can they go about it?
Okay, as usual, we always have great sidebar conversation, but one of the things we're going to talk about now is the importance of, those individuals who want to supplement their income. How can you make more money? I mean, if you're already working, but in your spare time or available time that you may have, that you want to bring some extra income in. And I want to say this is for the single moms who are already working somewhere. I want to say this to the dads who are working and trying to hold down the families as well. And if you're not employed, how this might be something that you can be a contributing factor to your family and bringing in some income. So Johnny, let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, first and foremost, the name of the brokerage that I work with is called the PHP Agency Incorporated. We were founded back in October of 2009, so this October will be a 10-year-old brokerage firm.
Okay.
Our headquarters is actually right outside of Dallas, Texas, and Addison, Texas. We have over 8,000 people who work with our firm, inclusive of agents, brokers, our home office staff, our licensing department, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very solid company. And our company's CEO, his name is Mr. Patrick Bet-David. He's actually 40 years of age. He's, done some great things.
A young guy.
In the financial industry, actually, exactly.
Yeah.
And he actually has the #1 YouTube station for entrepreneurs called Valuetainment. So I know you viewers that go on YouTube a lot, you definitely want to visit Valuetainment. He has some outstanding content, not only for people in the financial industry, but in any business that you want to get in when it comes to mastering your craft and being an entrepreneur. So I actually got involved with this particular company in July of 2015, so going on 3 years that I've been with the company, or actually going on 4 years, excuse me. And transitioning from the regular 9-to-5 type of workspace to being a full-fledged entrepreneur, controlling my own time, creating my own schedule, working business for myself and for my family is not something that's easy, but I embrace it because I know if I do the work and I help the people, the direct result of that would be obviously creating financial wealth for myself and my family.
Gotcha.
So our particular office here in the city of Chicago, we have offices all across the city in the suburban area, but the first office in the state of Illinois and in the city of Chicago is actually the office that I work out of. It's on 95th Street.
Okay.
The exact address is 2136 West 95th Street, Chicago, Illinois 60643. And my direct business mentor, he's actually well known across the city of Chicago and obviously across the country as well, because he's helped over 5,000 people get started in business as entrepreneurs, helping them get to their desired, financial goals, teaching them about business, teaching them about entrepreneurship, teaching them a system and a strategy and a structure. His name is Mr. Jamal Muhammad. I'm grateful to this gentleman because he shared some financial information with me and some business information with me when we initially met a couple of years ago that really kind of changed my outlook on life.
Gotcha.
And I've been working with him since then, and I'm glad and proud to be in business with him. And I'm looking forward to helping him get to where he needs to go, and ultimately that'll help everybody get to where they need to go from a financial standpoint.
All right, so if I'm interested, first of all, I'll give you a call.
Absolutely.
If they're interested, they need to give you a call.
Absolutely.
And what's the contact number? Because we're going to throw it out a couple of times for if anyone's interested in, first of all, taking care of the business with your family. But second of all, if you, again, we're talking about supplemental income and being able to just live a lifestyle that you would like to have for yourself and your family, how they would just do what?
Well, my phone number is 708-317-8800. You can also find me on various social media outlets when it comes to Facebook. My Facebook name is my first and last name, Johnny Johnson. You can also find me on LinkedIn, same name, Johnny Johnson. You can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram username is Johnny Cash 06. I am an Alpha man, by the way. Shout out to all my brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And so
you all just had an anniversary, didn't you?
We did, December 4th.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, okay.
So you can find me a lot of different ways, and I'm always in the community. So you'll see me in a local business, or you might see me in a local library, or you might see me just around. So if you see me, you know, I'm a very personable person. So 9 times out of 10, I'll probably speak to you before you speak to me because that's how I was brought up.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if you want to just have a genuine conversation with me about anything that we've covered today, or anything that you may think that might be beneficial to you from a financial standpoint, then we can have that conversation. But when it comes to making more money, I don't know anybody with ultimate common sense that wouldn't want to make more money.
Right.
Because if a man like Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett would like to make more money, or Bill Gates for that matter, who is already multi-billionaires, would like to make more money, I'm sure the average man or the average woman who makes $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year could use a few extra $1,000s to supplement their household. So to go about doing that, it's a very simple process. There's some licensing fees that are involved when it comes to getting a license, because we're validated by the state of our jurisdiction, in this case, Illinois, but you can also get what we call non-resident licenses in any other state. But you would first and foremost get licensed here in the state of Illinois to be what we call a financial producer.
Right.
And then once that happens, then we teach you and train you in everything from top to bottom. We have weekly trainings, 2-3 times a week, when they're talking about building a business, when it talks about the products that we distribute, when it talks about the language from a sales type of situation, because a lot of people have sold something at some point in their life.
Gotcha.
But to be able to sell a financial product to somebody, that's a different scenario than maybe selling a vacuum cleaner to somebody, or selling a purse to somebody, or selling a suit to somebody. You know, it takes a lot of, you know, different types of techniques to be able to get the point across, because money, let's just be honest, money is kind of a taboo subject. So you have to approach it a certain type of way to make a person feel comfortable with disclosing certain financial information to you.
That's true.
And then once you do that, you have to have their best interest at heart, and you have to let them know that you have their best interest at heart, so they feel comfortable with doing business with you and creating a solid business relationship with you over a period of time.
Well, I'm glad you recognize the fact most people, it comes out of fear because they really don't want to tell you their financial business.
That's true.
A lot of times because they don't want you to know that they really ain't got their finances in order.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
I could be wrong. You know, I don't care how much money they have. Most people, whatever level they live, they're living to that level.
Yeah, that's true.
So when people like yourself come in, you're going to point out, man, you know, you may make 6 figures, but you living at almost twice that amount.
Absolutely. And
you know,
one of my business mentors always says, the knowledge of the problem is the key to the solution. So you have to acknowledge that you have a problem, and in this atmosphere, we're talking about financially. So if I make $85,000 a year, and I spend $65,000 the same year I made the $85,000, in a nutshell, I only made 20 grand, because you subtract your revenue from your expenses, and that leaves what you actually made, right? So now you got to ask yourself, of that $20,000 that I've made this particular year, how much of that is going to savings? How much of that is being set aside in an emergency fund, which also is savings as well? Is my family protected? Am I out of debt or in the process of getting out of debt? And is my household taken care of? Is my spouse taken care of? Are my children taken care of? Those types of things. So when you start to mentally prepare to say, okay, I know I need some financial help. Let me contact Mr. Johnson, sit down with him for a half an hour of my time, for him to add value and for him to add some financial things that I probably don't know, that I probably should know. Then that's where it starts at. And then over a period of time, we build a relationship, we do business. And then that's one less thing that you and your family has to worry about, because that's just one aspect of it. But you still got to take care of your household. You know, you still got to take care of your health.
All day long.
You know, so it's a lot of different factors that we as adults in America have to do as far as living our life. But it all comes down to our money, because if I want better health, then that means I need to change my diet. That costs money. Right. If I know I want to be in a certain place living wise, that I'm not really satisfied where I'm living at now, that's going to take money for me to move from this zip code to maybe another zip code. If I want to make sure that my children go to the best schools or possibly even homeschool them, that takes money. So I'm not saying anybody should worship money, because I definitely don't. Nobody that I know does. Right. But at the end of the day, money and having more of it in your accounts, if you will, provides more options for you as a man or as a woman to be able to provide better opportunities for yourself and your family as you move forward in life.
That's a beautiful thing. Let me just say this to our viewers. We're kicking this year off right. 2019, we want to just give it to you straight. That's why you're on Straight Talk. And we're hoping that you're picking up on where we're coming from, because it's all about helping ourselves. If we help you, we help ourselves. And that's what we're on this year. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
this is a pertinent time in our lives through all the politics that you're seeing going on in the world. The government is shut down. Many people right now don't even know when they're going to get their next paycheck. But if they would have had something like what you have here, you could pull from these. You could pull for these funds. The funds that you're putting into these your vehicles. Yeah. There's ways to get those monies out to help your family to keep going during, I want to say, crises?
Yeah.
A time period that most people are going through right now. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So there's one product that I'm very, very fond of. I'm fond of all of the products because at some point it can help somebody in wherever their financial world is. But one of the products that I'm very, very interested to share with people is a product by the name of the IUL. So you familiar with AC Green. So you hear it on this show all the time. He's talking about the IUL vehicle. And the IUL is a life insurance product. It actually stands for Index Universal Life. So the product does three things in one vehicle. First and foremost is permanent life insurance. So at whatever age that a client gets it or a person gets it, it takes them from that age to age 120. So if they pass away at any given time, as long as the policy is active and paid for, their family gets the death benefit. The second part of it is it has living benefits. So if a person gets a chronic, critical, terminal illness, stroke, cancer, tear their ACL playing basketball, whatever the case may be, the vehicle pays them a portion of the death benefit while they're living. Most people have never heard of that before. And then when I talk to them about it, they're like, why have nobody ever talked to us about that before? So that's a very, very important thing, because if a person suffers a stroke and they're off work for 2 years, now they don't have any income coming in from the job that they were working. Where's the income coming in at? Well, the IUL vehicle can pay them to offset the bills that they had initially, but also to fund their medical expenses, which also keeps them from filing bankruptcy.
See, that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, it has a tax-free cash value portion where you can use it to supplement your retirement and ultimately never run out of money.
Well, Johnny, what we need to do is we need to let them know a number they can get in contact with you, because we're at the tip of our show. Okay. And we need to let them know how they can contact you and get further information where you can do personal visits. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, get on top of this. It is the key to the future of our communities and our families, the future of our families. We got to talk to individuals like Mr. Johnny Johnson here and get our lives in order. Just as simple as that. Just getting our lives in order. So I want him to give you some quick points, and then we're going to have to close out. And I'm hoping that you do the right thing for you and your family.
Yeah. So once again, my phone number is 708-317-8800. And just some things to be thinking about. Wherever you are in your life right now, ask yourself, are you financially where you need to be? If the answer is no, then we need to have a conversation. If you are in a position where you're transitioning, maybe you were doing things for 10, 15 years from a career standpoint, and maybe you want to kind of switch it up, but you still want to either maintain the same income or maybe perhaps make more income, which I'm sure you probably do, then we need to have a conversation. And last but certainly not least, family. Family is the most important thing outside of God himself, because you want to make sure that your family is your foundation. And obviously you want to make sure your revenue or your income is taken care of so you can fund and take care of your family. So if family is important to you and you don't have life insurance, if you're in massive debt, bad debt of course, if you're interested in getting some things taken care of financially, let's have a solid, intelligent conversation and let's start to solve some of these problems, because the biggest problem in America is financial.
Well, let's get them that number, and then so they can give you a call one more time.
Absolutely. So once again, my number is 708-317-8800. You can call me, you can text me, and if I don't answer, definitely leave me a voicemail, and I will call you back in a prompt time.
Mr. Johnny Johnson, I appreciate you coming on again.
Thank you,
Johnny
sir.
Johnson is a licensed financial service professional, but he's working with the company PHP Agency Incorp, a financial service representative. Positions are available, and life insurance and other things are possible for you and yours. God bless you, and thank you for kicking off our 2019 Straight Talk with Deyon Dean. Have a blessed night.